back. We have a very special guest with us, Mr. James McLaughlin. Mr. McLaughlin, this book speaks volumes. Again, I stand alone. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
We're honored to have you. Why don't you just introduce yourself to our viewing audience?
Well, my name is James McLaughin. I'm a 30-year Marine veteran. Done a lot of things, and right now doing artwork in Ocala, Florida, and I'm hoping to do something that'll aid veterans today.
30-year USMC.
Yes.
Simplify.
Simplify.
Yes, sir. You know, I can remember as a young guy, been a little while ago, going into the Marine Corps in 1969, took me to Paris Island, line up on them yellow footprints.
Yep.
I'm like, Lord Jesus.
Salute the fleas.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that in my life. Here's a book that you have, powerful book, something that's stated here. I have often asked myself what others would do if they had walked in my shoes. I would be interested to see how and what others would say about my experiences in life. Speak to us about that, and what led you to write that?
Well, I've been requested by a lot of people that knew me to, I should write this down for others to read. And the title again is I Stand Alone. It's like when I come back from a real heavy engagement somewhere near Grenada and Cuba and all of that.
Yes.
And I come home, but to no one, to nothing.
My.
So nothing was available to me. And just like they said, well, we can't let you go home because they're having a riot up in Detroit. And I said, I'm going home because I said, people shooting me, trying to kill me, blowing me up.
Yes.
I'm going home. So that's why I say the book, I Stand Alone, is to try to enlighten the public just the life and environment of a veteran.
Yes. Yes.
So they can been asked like, well, why did the veterans do this? Why did they do that? Why did this? And I said, I'm trying to explain it to you.
Yes.
I said, but the biggest thing I try to get people to understand is you're trained, you're taking a basic person, you're broken down to become a machine.
Absolutely.
To do a certain job.
Yes.
But they don't debrief you when you come home. So you're still in that combat mode when you come home. So they don't debrief you so you can come back and try to live a normal life.
So now, Mr. McLaughlin, you said they don't debrief you.
No.
You mentioned something. Now, I'm dealing with some things right now. You are hitting on something, sir, that's going to help a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
The PTSD. You mentioned Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
They don't debrief us when we come from those environments and come back to these environments. So you say, here you come from an extreme situation. They tell you that you can't go home.
Yes.
You say, but I'm going home.
Mm-hmm.
So they tell you there's unrest at home and you just left unrest.
Yes.
As a young man, what emotional and psychological impact did that have on you?
Well, with all I had been through and the things that happened and number of bodies I viewed and number of people we lost, I told the state trooper that had stopped me, he said, well, we're not allowing traffic or anything else to go into Detroit. I said, I just come from a war. I need to go home. I'm not sleeping in no ditch. I'm not sleeping under no bridge. I said, I am prepared to die if you're willing to kill me.
My goodness.
I said, because I'm going home.
You're here in the United States.
And they said I couldn't go home.
You just left a volatile situation. And they say you can't go home.
Right.
Then you say, I am prepared to die?
Yes. I let them know I was going to go home. You were going to have to shoot me. You wasn't going to stop me.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Here's something. You said, I can't tell all because it would only bring distress to myself and my family. Then you make a statement here. I lived my life and I thought it would be taken away from me at any time with no fault of my own.
Right. Well, what I meant by that, when I went to Vietnam because of my MOS that I had, they gave everyone a list when you got off the plane. According to your MOS, you will live 10 minutes, you'll live 5 minutes, you'll live 3 minutes
Yes,
after you put your feet on the ground.
life expectancy.
And they gave me 3 minutes because I was going to aviation.
Aviation,
Mhm.
and gave you only 3 minutes. Now you would think that the grunt
Mhm.
will have a less time life expectancy,
Mhm.
but aviation had a less time expectancy than the grunt.
Yeah.
So what did that do to this young man who's stepping into this country?
Well, that's where the real PTSD comes in, because, like I explained to one Marine's mother, that she said, "I don't understand." I said, "Mom," I call her mom because
Yes.
she was a mother. I said, "You have to look at it this way. It's similarities to going to church one day, then you going over there and see somebody's guts explode all over you." I said, "It does something to you.
Yes, sir.
You can't come back the same."
Yes, sir.
I said, "But you got to treat him like you did before. Give him space."
Mm.
And I said, that's where the debriefing comes in, because they don't make available resources for people coming home. They don't really help you out when people coming home. And then it's just like for me, when I come, they said, because I stayed in the military too long, my education allowance expired.
Are you serious?
And I couldn't get a home loan because I said I stayed in the military too long.
Wait a minute, sir. Because you served
Right.
for 30 years,
Mhm.
you lost benefits
I lost everything.
because you were serving.
Right.
I've never heard that before.
Well, it's true. And one thing, you know how we used to leave our pay on the books?
Yes, sir.
I left, for the time I was in Vietnam for 2 years, I left half my pay on the books and send the other half home to my mother to pay the mortgage so she'd have a roof and
Yes.
food and stuff overhead. And the rest I left on the books. That's because I'm flying missions, on missions and different things that if I'm captured, you're not supposed to have any type of identification.
Right.
But now they're saying that I won't get that. I say if I live long enough, they'll look into it. But they don't want to give it to me.
I was just going to say, don't tell me they didn't want to give you your money.
They don't want to, still don't.
You haven't received that money yet?
No.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I started come back home, start from scratch all over again.
So now, as you open up and reveal this, I'm beginning to understand. You said, I have often been asked, how can you still smile after all the things you've had to endure in your life?
Well, I told them that's simple, because just like what a lot of boys, the Marines done whenever I was getting ready to go on a mission or go some, I'll disappear and I'll go somewhere. I say, where you be going? I go somewhere and pray. That's where I be going. I go pray.
Yes.
That's something my mother gave me, and I'm glad she did, because there wasn't a day that passed that I didn't see my death, that I couldn't have not came home many times. So, but that was one of the things that even now I try to work with veterans and even hospice, veterans and their families and
Yes, sir.
stuff. And this is pretty much what I'm trying to do, is to set up like a veteran resort area where veterans can go out and have picnics, ride horses and stuff like that.
Yes.
Separate from the community. If you put that in the middle of the city, they're going to be all nerved. They ain't going to enjoy it. You put them away from the city, then they'll calm down and settle down.
Mm.
And I said, that's what veterans need.
You have to detach from it.
Detach from it. And see, you have to know how to talk to a veteran.
Yes, sir.
And so you haven't walked in his shoes. I said, don't tell him what he means. But
That's quite interesting. Now, you've opened up and shared a lot here.
Mhm.
You've opened my eyes to some things. There's this mindset, and you can go to the VA and whatever and say, thank you for your service. Words say, but actions show. And what you convey to us and what you've had to live through is so powerful. We have about 2 minutes left.
okay.
And so what I'd like for you to do right now, sir, share with our viewing audience any information you'd like to share as how they can contact you, if there's a website, email, anything like that. We know how they can get this powerful book that you've written. Take about 60 seconds and share that with our audience. Look right here.
Okay. Well, my name is James McLaughlin. My phone number is 352-875-7317. And my email is powerspoon, POWERSPOON 124 at AOL.com. What I'm trying to do is to help veterans and their families come back together, because a lot of veterans are alienated
Yeah.
by their family and from their family. So I'm trying to pull them back together.
That is so, so powerful. You have shared some information that I'm sure many were not privileged to. In essence, your career now is to be an advocate for veterans.
Right.
And I must say that you're doing an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Want to commend you and thank you. Want to thank you for your service. Want to thank you for your continued service. It's interesting when you find someone who's willing to sacrifice his or herself for the benefit of others, because you don't want them to have to experience what you've experienced. And sir, you're to be commended for that. I mean, thank you so much. I appreciate your service. I appreciate your commitment and dedication to it. Again, I stand alone. But you mentioned something that's so, so powerful. You talked about the importance and the necessity of having a relationship with God in your life.
Right.
Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
All right. So listen, Dr. Larry Carnes, been Books of the Month. We want to thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next month right here on Books of the Month.